So my guest preacher this morning is really, in my mind, one of the great preachers of the world. He is a theoretical physicist, Dr. Michael Gillen. You're in for a great message. Please welcome with me, Michael Gillen.
Thank you, Dr. Stewart. God bless you. In Mark, we're told, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength, with everything you've got. And the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. There is no greater commandment than these. Let me ask you this. When you think of the word philanthropy, who comes to mind? My answer is my paternal grandfather, after whom I was named, Dr. Miguel Guillen. For more than half a century, my grandfather was a minister in the truest sense of the word, and for 35 of those years, he was the president of the CLADIC, the oldest independent Spanish-speaking Pentecostal group in the country. I was very young when he died, but many years later, after I was married to my beautiful wife, I was invited by the CLADIC to give a sermon in honor of my grandfather's memory. After the sermon, my wife Laurel and I stood in a receiving line, and it lasted for 4 hours. No exaggeration, 4 hours. For 4 hours, people shook my hand and told me all the things that my grandfather had done for them in his life. Had married them, had buried their loved ones, had been there in the toughest times of their lives. And they wanted me to know about it. The irony is the congregation was incredibly proud of me because I was the kid from the East Los Angeles barrio who had gone on to make good, to become a big TV star. And yet, as I stood in that receiving line, as I listened to how thoroughly and faithfully my grandfather had loved God and had served him by giving his life to others, I kept feeling smaller and smaller and smaller. Have you ever seen the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? That's how I felt. In those 4 fateful hours, something hit me like a lightning bolt. I had spent my life, not on others, but on myself, on doggedly pursuing my dreams, my ambitions, my priorities. Yes, it had gotten me out of the barrio. I'd become a scientist and taught at Harvard. I'd become the science correspondent for ABC News, all of which were wonderful, praiseworthy achievements, don't get me wrong. But in my walk with God, I was nowhere, and it showed in my lack of philanthropy. In Matthew, we're told, do not store up treasures for yourselves on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. When you live the selfless life, when you give your life away to others, you benefit physically, mentally, spiritually. You live a healthier, happier, longer life. This is being documented by science. They're also finding out that the more you give, the more you get back. The benefits you receive when you're philanthropic, they call the warm glow effect. They're proving the more you give, the more you glow. Like a big light bulb. Your soul just glows. It's a stunning affirmation of what we read in the Bible. In Luke, it's put this way: give, and it will be given to you. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And in 2 Corinthians, Paul puts it this way: remember this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. However, whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Give and glow. The more you give, the more you glow.